I mean, Florida just is thirsty. This is one of so I feel like East Coast is thirstier in a lot of ways, but Florida is thirsty.
Okay.
Florida's a thirst trap.
Florida.
South Florida in particular is a thirst trap. And it really is. It's got like a very primal vibe to it. This is the place of, I mean, I am a world traveler. I've lived in a lot of places. And between this and I'd say New York City is where I get the most cat calls. But here it's like
Really?
they will like come up to you and like stop and like you could be wearing a garbage bag while you're out walking and they will beep the horn. I'm not joking. It is for real. It doesn't matter. They're just like ass burnt.
Oh, wow. Ladies and gentlemen, oh my God, we are honored. We are seriously honored. This is a woman, and be careful. Seriously, there's something about you. You will do anything this woman says. We're going to talk about power. We're going to talk about
Mm.
the beauty of submission. We're going to talk about Florida. We're going
Mhm.
to talk to a very, very good friend. Oh, once again, I must say, everything we talk about is consensual. It is for adults. Everything is consensual for adults. Don't judge. It's an unattractive quality. Let's have some fun. Ladies and gentlemen, please bow down. Show utmost respect to the magnificent Mistress Pomf. Say hi. How are
Hello.
you?
Thanks
So,
for
Mistress
joining
Pomf,
us.
thank you. So, what's
Yeah, thank you
inspiring you
for
these
having
days?
me.
What's inspiring you these days?
Ooh, so much. There's so much going on. I'm cultivating and working on like so many different projects these days. So really my passions in life, will say, like all around are like creativity, which kink is woven into that for me as well. Spirituality and consciousness, personal development. Those are like slashes of the same thing basically, which we'll talk about I think at some point how we can bounce off of kink with that. And nature, I love nature, as you may know. And
Mm, yeah.
yeah, like really growing as a space holder in the world, which is part of what we can potentially do as DOMs, really holding this container for people and people to experience all different feelings, vulnerability, show up authentically, all of this. Um, yeah, of course, always travel. I always love travel. And yeah, these are just like
I
some of
love that you
my
said
passions.
you were talking about authenticity. And one thing I love about you, I've talked to you many times. You're authentic. You're to the core. Everything you say is really seriously. It's from the
Thank
heart,
you.
and that resonates. And that's why I love having you on the show. So, what have you been up to since last we spoke? We've caught up about me and my trials and tribulations. But what's going on?
I'd like to hear more of yours, though. You've been interesting. Well, maybe I'll have to read the book.
It is. I am writing a new one. Yeah, all about it. The coolest way to save my life.
Ooh, and we can
Dan
talk
Vladimir.
about writing too, because I started writing my memoir like last year. I haven't dabbled
Really?
back into it. I'm always juggling projects. It doesn't end.
That's wonderful. No, I'm the same way. I'm working on 3 books now.
Mhm.
I got other projects. I got stuff with Nico Noir, another dominatrix, who's
Ah,
we got shows coming up, stuff at Mischief Manor. Yeah, keeping busy, creative, being creative. That's what keeps me alive. You know what I mean? And I
yeah,
think that's what in the kink community, that's what keeps people. So you've been
yeah.
doing all that. All right, let's
Mm.
talk about power. Now
Power
you
is
wrote
such a good subject.
Power and Seduction, float in the
Mhm.
ecstasy of your submission. Now
Yeah.
I've been a toxic male pretty much my whole life.
Okay.
Right? I've been very dominant. I have always had to be. I had to make money. I had to
Yeah.
be. I had to have all the records I can have, all the books, all the CD,
Mhm.
have the coolest movie, the cool everything. You know what I mean? And it wasn't until I reached a certain point in my life where I really found beauty in submission, in
Yeah.
serving, in and stuff like that. So you've tapped into that.
Mhm.
So you really do. You really have tapped into it, and the people. as soon as they see you, they almost want to submit to
I
you.
know.
how how do you do that?
Hello, Stan, by the way. I don't wasn't able to get into the chat. How do I do that? I would say, so I mentioned space holding earlier, and this is a journey that
Yeah.
I've awakened into really. It's something, it was a mission, I would say, or like just my embodiment of coming into this world as that. But the power of that, the true power of that has grown over the years. So I've always been a person all my life who everyone, they can just come to. It's like my lineage, my archetypal lineage, as it's called, is like artist, Buddhist, dominatrix, priestess. And those are all things that it's like we're working with listening to it all. And that nothing is like too weird, because weird is a judgment. Of course, and I was called weird like every day in school, probably all the time.
I love weird.
But it was like, yeah, I had to like get rid of that from my subconscious, that it was affecting me and holding me back actually as a creative person. So tapping into this, I've always been this person that people come up to and they tell like their deepest, darkest secrets. And I've learned really to hold space for that, and from a place of empowerment instead of this, there's a lot of things going on online that people are like, they classify themselves as empaths, right? And they're like, I can't be around people. This
Yeah.
is making me like, because they're taking on that person's energy and they're not actually able to hold space for the energy. And granted, this is something that I did, and I'm still finding where there's holes in my like being, we'll say, of where I'm doing that. And that is empowering to to connect with one's energetic center, and if your energy's going elsewhere, take it back. People are giving away their energy all the time, and they think people are taking it from them, but they're letting it be done. And that's sad. That's kind of nuanced to say, but it's really, we in our society, especially like in, it's every culture in the world really now, we are very disconnected from our power. We Most people are disconnected from it. They're afraid of power because they see like a shadow version of power, which means to take from other people, greed, all these things, right? And to be like in an over, well, we'll call it actually to be in the wounded feminine, the wounded masculine, which is like, some people would say that's toxic, right? There's dark feminine and dark masculine, which we play with as ethical dominance or ethical subs, right?
Yeah.
And there's the wounding, which is really actually selfish. Like we have like the goddess Kali, right? That's like,
Hmm.
if Kali would have boundaries if you were to, but also it comes from a place of like love and like
Yeah.
like true power and strength, right? True creative force. But so a lot of people are afraid of true power, to really hold their power, and they give it away in the world. And we see these examples of of wounded power, we'll say, like people who are in power who are coming about it from a place of wounding. And we don't
I see
look at
that every day on the news.
right? We are not as focused on power that is from the true perspective of it, we'll say, or
Hmm.
standpoint. Hello.
Speaking of power, was there like a light bulb moment growing up or something, or just even in adulthood, where you're like, "Wow,
Mm.
I have the power," like the He-Man Gray Skull.
I love
Please
this
tell us about it.
question. I love this. All right. I want to talk about it from a few places in my life now.
Yeah.
So, and I'm going to be like even more authentic here and even more vulnerable. And this is stuff that I don't put out like on my Twitter yet, maybe. I don't know. And it's something I got sick of along the way too in the last few years of going through burnout, right? And
Yeah, we're talking
all
about that.
is that I know BDSM and kink, conscious, we can call it conscious BDSM and kink, right? Which is what true BDSM is, right? We're doing it ethically. I know it to be transformative, right? And I'm losing my thread here. Hold on. Oh, but as a pro dom, people are coming in with so many of their own projections onto me all the time. And I felt like I wasn't able to be so much authentic. And I was afraid, actually. I felt a lot of fear, and I still do feel a lot of fear that if I were to really say my true journey that I've been on throughout this life, that some people, it would freak them out. But people who are like in the lifestyle, they'd be like, fuck yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know,
nothing's
because
shocking.
this is the true healing work of this, of
Hmm.
what BDSM is, you know, because when someone comes from in the profession, like, we're offering this container that, like, some people who they can't experience this in their life, you know, because of
Yeah.
conditions. And I'm passionate about offering that, but it also becomes this like lather, rinse, repeat instead of like the healing and the integration, which is like a psychedelic journey, right? If to
Hmm.
have a true like transformative psychedelic journey, it's about integrating all of what we just experienced into our daily life. And a lot of people
Yeah.
don't get to do that. They just like, "Oh, man, I saw a lot of crazy colors and all the symbols of the universe," and then, like, they didn't really integrate what maybe the loss of ego that they experienced in the
Hmm.
you know, which is a big
Was
thing.
there a specific time where you like impressed yourself? Literally, were you like,
Yeah.
oh my god, this sub, like, wow, I can't believe I have this much power.
So when I was younger in my 20s, and I the first, like, slave type that I played with, before professional work, I that was, like, when I went into complete flow. And I got to that length, that depth, we'll say, or whatever, because of the degree that they were able to go to, which was a little bit different from like play parties I was in or playing one on one with other partners, where it was a little more like here and there. There weren't like specific roles, maybe, or we were like maybe in play groups where it's a little bit more lighthearted sometimes. This was like so humiliating, and we did some public degradation in this. It was back when I lived in Asia. I was, like, throwing the peels of oranges on the ground and having him eat it and just, like and it was, but I would say that this was a power trip that was, like, it's fun and it's exhilarating when you enter a space like this, but it wasn't conscious. Nowadays, on my journey, I'm really conscious of, like, what it is that I'm doing here, actually. And also
Yeah.
this is it takes responsibility, like someone said in the chat here. Truly, great power comes great responsibility, because people are they're giving you their trust, which is
Hmm.
thing BDSM has given me.
You know what I've been doing a lot, especially as the world gets crazier, as life gets crazier. Um, like next time, if I'm tied up, or if I'm tying someone up, or something, and I'm like, if I'm ever taken out of the moment for any reason, anything can take it out. But I
Mhm.
always just tell myself, I go, look around you. Just look what's going on. Look what's like, look, and that just always brings me down. And so the reason I said that is because you were talking about being
Yeah.
conscious in the moment, and I think that really truly makes a difference. A lot of people are. I love drugs. I love, like, I can't do them.
I
I,
mean, don't
I
we
can't
all to some degree?
I can't do, and seriously, I can. The only thing I can do is marijuana, is cannabis. But still, I can't be that whacked out
Yeah,
either. First of all, it takes out the fun,
it
But
does.
being conscious, even without drugs,
Mhm,
a lot of
mhm.
people aren't even conscious of where they are and what's going on
Yes.
around them.
That's why, like, b b when I'm practicing, when I'm playing, it's meditative. I
Hmm.
am meditating. I mean, technically, at this point in my life as a Buddhist, like, I meditate every day, like, I'm always meditating. Anytime I'm out of the moment, I'm coming back to the moment, and it's a moment to moment practice. But BDSM is like after doing it for years, I'll be honest, there's certain things that I'm like, "Oh my god, I've done this, like, hundreds of times, like, how can I be
Yeah.
interested in this?" And this sounds like I'm actually a little scared, I guess, saying that because 'cause I'm like, "Ooh, people are gonna judge that it's like, she's bored now." It's like but that's
No,
like meditation. You have to
yeah, no,
find
it's true. Well, you're always looking for a
good.
higher level. You're always looking for a higher level of
I
consciousness.
know.
So let me ask you this
Uh-huh.
with okay, first of all, you can get 15% off all inventory at Locked and Lust with offer code YKF. You were talking about living in the moment. I was talking about how people don't live in the moment. And because
Yeah.
I think a lot of times they're always thinking about the future. They're always thinking about what I
Yes.
want, what I want, what I want to get, stuff like that.
Yes.
How does chastity play into all of this
Ooh.
when it
To
comes to living in the moment
mm.
and being conscious? How does chastity play fall into that?
I mean, I don't know what it's like to have a chastity cage on, but I would say that, this is controlling one's sexual energy, and someone did ask about tantra in here. Um,
Yes, we'll get to
so
that, Shay. We'll get to
yeah,
that.
yeah. But, this is like when we're on we'll call it more of an unconscious level about our sexual energy, we are leaking it all over. And this is something that I enjoy a lot about chastity,
Leaking.
that
That's the that's
leaking
the term.
Yeah, you're pissing it away, right, just, like, leaking it away. Yeah, so we could be leaking it, and it happens, apparently it's, like it can be very difficult for a lot of men. I would say I struggled a lot with lust, especially in the last few years where I became more and more conscious. I was like, "Oh my god, I'm like a really lusty woman," which is like, "Okay, yeah, like you're a sex worker or a dominatrix," like but, like, I saw where I was leaking too and how this was
Okay.
affecting me. And what I like about kink is, like, we're consenting, and now I have, like, free range to be like I love objectifying people and all of that, and I saw myself doing that a lot, like, in on the sly, like, in day-to-day life,
I think
which
kink is a way of controlling lust in many
it
it's a
could be.
fun, creative way to
Mhm,
control our lust and desires. And we do it in a
mhm.
safe and consensual manner. Like I said, don't judge people. Very unattractive quality.
Mhm.
All right, let's get back to the questions.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, let's go to the because I don't want to forget. Shay,
Mm.
Patrick, Cormac, a friend of the show, says, Mistress, do you practice Tantra?
Yeah, great question. So, in the last couple of years, I started dabbling a little more into, like, solo tantra practices. I'll be honest, because of my Buddhist roots, I already knew, like, tantra is that what we have in the West, especially in, like, kink communities and, like, sacred sexuality communities, is, like, neo-tantra, and it's not the whole thing. And so it sort of, like, turned me off a little bit for years, and I was like but then as I started really getting more into, like, practicing my spirituality, everyone's like, "Do you do tantra?" And as I started going into my priestess journey these last few years, I was, like, called more into practicing tantra and see, like, what I can bring of it into my practice as a dom as well, or, like, outside of it. So I'm in this, like, new journey of that. Yeah, it's cool for you to ask.
Speaking of kink and religion seem to play a big role, and
Mhm.
it's fetishized in many ways, and a lot of it's role play.
Yeah.
A lot of this life is role play. You are real though. I like you. This is something you truly believe. You are a genuine priestess. You're not. This is not an act for you.
Yeah, no.
Correct.
I
All
thought
right.
I was like I thought it was, like maybe years ago, if I saw that, I'd be like, that's crazy." But my process was, like, just it was like an awakening journey for me too, which sounds so cheesy as well. It used to sound cheesy, actually, it doesn't really anymore because when I connected with what I'm doing here, it's not what others are doing. People have different callings even as priestess maybe, but for me, a lot of it is being a space holder and being my connection with the earth and helping people, like, with their body, mind, and soul, like their health, really their
So
integrity with their body too.
you would say you're a spiritual person, right?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
spiritual. Yeah. Yeah.
So in the kink community, a lot of the pushback that we get comes from different religions. I'm not even
Mm.
going to mention which ones, but there's certain religions that just come after us. So, but kinky
Mhm.
people like yourself are spiritual. So how do you combat that when someone's using God, the name of God, to say
Yeah.
that you're what you're doing, what you're with sex, which produces life, is against
Right.
everything and that is good and right in the world? It's like,
Good
well, how do
question.
you, as a spiritual person, how do you react to that? How do you combat it?
Yeah. So, oh, there's a few answers in here. So first of all, even though I'm talking about spirituality here, like there's nothing I feel like I need to prove to anyone because it's never going to like that's just ridiculous. That's ego. And that means that you need people to join your like whatever your belief. That's BS. That's ego. I've been doing a lot of ego work. It's like daily practice as a Buddhist, right? And so gradually my personal for what I say about spirituality is bio individual. What one person's spiritual connection is may differ from the next person. Like you may be into, I don't know, this is coming into my head, like archery and like the way that the bow is like shooting into the air and the connection that it has and I don't know, the ethers, whatever, like that is part of your spirituality. Who am I to judge? For me, a lot of it is I'm like, someone could classify me as like what is it? I'm like blanking out on this word, like a pagan, which I
Ah,
mean, I am basically a
oh
pagan,
yeah,
which is like there's a lot of kinksters that are pagans. Like
oh
I
yeah. I did a whole show.
my goddess, she's my mother, she's my creator. It's amazing. It's like what Doms play.
Shout out to the Lady Ascends. She's a pagan. I think she's currently in the woods doing a blood sacrifice, a role play. It's a
Yeah.
role play blood sacrifice. It's not real. No one's being killed,
Who's
even though
this?
there are volunteers.
Yeah, wow.
All right, let's talk about Florida real quick. We just
Oh,
talked
but
about Florida a little bit.
I do want to
Florida's always
say
a. Oh yeah, please.
I
I'm
want
sorry.
to say something about that spirituality is there there's a lot of turn off, especially I've seen in the kink community towards look like religion is organized religion. There's
Yes,
spirituality. It's
definitely.
personal, it's bio individual. We are actually all God. Like we
Mhm.
are actually you take enough mushrooms or something and you will know.
The
You're God.
kingdom of heaven lies inside.
Yeah.
Practice it.
You could say it like that too. But yeah, I would say like don't let it turn you off to finding or block you because I was blocked. I went to Catholic school, and I'm also like it just ugh.
Sunshine says people outside the community have no idea how deep kink BDSM goes. More so, what it teaches us about ourselves.
Mhm.
Integrating what we learn on our kink journey into all parts of our lives is crucial. And Chris Bako says,
Beautiful.
"Hello there." Stan Vladimir has the question coming up, but I do have a question. You you grew up in a church, and now you were a Buddhist priest. Would you say is that
I'm a Buddhist. I've
you're a
been a Buddhist
Buddhist?
for it's like 11 years or something,
Hmm.
and I started becoming a priestess. It's been about 3 years, around there. Yeah, and it's different. It's not through Buddhism or anything, but
Hmm.
I integrate my Buddhism, of course, because it's just like a part of my whole philosophy.
So let me ask you this. I'm going to the Buddhist philosophies resonate with me a lot,
Yeah.
more so than any other religion. I'll give you that.
Mm.
Um, so if for anyone listening to this, it's Saturday, the night's just beginning, right? And everybody's going to have a session tonight. What kind of Buddhist philosophy would help us
Mm.
that we should say to ourselves even? We should like some kind of saying, some kind of mantra, some kind of thing to kind of make sure that we're at inner peace throughout the day, but also can do something kinky. What do you do to prepare in a Buddhist way to prepare for a session?
Mm. Well, to say or to do, but to say, the one that just popped into my head really was, it's like a Ram Dass saying, and it's just a couple words, be here now. It comes into my head a lot.
Yeah.
It's be here now. I like to start sessions actually with candle lighting, and I make an intention with my sub. And I can tell like where someone's at. Like some people, they're so disconnected from their personal spirituality that they don't even know what it's like to, they don't even know how to do an intention.
Yeah.
Like, so I have to teach them that. And it's like, there's no wrong, there's no right. It's what you're feeling called to. And we put it into the flame, we incant it, and then we let it go. We don't try to control the show, because I'm not trying to control the show either. Like, this is the same of all kind of creative process that I'm doing, including as a dom and creating a scene, is like, maybe I have a little backbone or an idea of what we're both into, all of that, or maybe I even have a couple of even more intricate ideas, but I'm ready to throw that out the window if there's something that just authentically is coming up in the moment in the scene, and that's what takes hold.
Dan Vladimir has the stand question. If you could have any superpower, what would it be, and how would you use it in your kink life?
Ooh, the second part took a turn. I was like, I already know the answer to this, because finally I've decided that if I had to pick one superpower, it's going to be teleportation, because I love traveling so much. Time travel is kind of fun too, because you could
Yeah.
teleport at the same time, maybe when you're train traveling. I don't know. But all right, we'll
You
go
could
with
teleport to a time that invents time. You could use time travel to travel to a time where they invent teleportation, and then use that to go anywhere you want.
I love that. You found a loophole. I like how you think, Nicholas. Yeah. So wait, then how would I use it in my kink life? I mean, gosh, now all of the like non-consensual stuff popped up, which is like shadow revenge stuff. It's like, how would I
Would
really
you just like?
That's not very
I really
Buddhist.
think it would be a wild power if you could just give orgasms, like the president or like Congress. Congress, they're arguing, and you're just like, and then, I'm shutting down the government
So funny.
with orgasms.
Yeah, if
Think
everyone
about it.
took a moment off.
And then you could use it in a sinister way. Imagine if all of your exes, every single exes, you controlled all their orgasms. And that could be, you could do it too much or not at all. They could never have an orgasm again because you control them, or they could have one every 5 seconds where it makes their life very, very uncomfortable.
Terrible, actually. That's when
I know.
it's too much bliss. Just blows your brain.
All
Because
right.
like that can become so painful.
Mark Hubner says, I love pampering the feet of a dominant lady so much, according to every trick of the book. So I get it. Okay, Mistress Pomf, I'm
Mhm.
sure you get a lot of men. I love your feet. Stomp
Mhm.
on me, to put your toes in my throat and there's whatever, or in my nose, my nose, whatever.
Mhm.
So, what's your approach to the foot fetishists? Because I mean, you could just be like, all right, whatever. Here, you could charge a lot of money, you could do everything, but what is your approach when someone comes up to you and they want to worship your feet? What do you?
Well, where is the setting? Is this for a session, you mean?
Let's say on average, like the typical person. So that means include, yeah, the typical person. No, not session, not professional. They just say, "Oh, I want to worship your feet."
Then they have to be very good at massage. I love foot massages. I don't want someone slobbering like all over me and stuff. Like, unless I'm feeling feisty, where I'm like, I'm gonna gag you and like just have some like wicked fun because it's funny to me. But I love a foot massage, and I'm noticing, especially like in the profession, a lot of subs do not, or like clientele subs, I don't know what to call it, not to offend anyone who is, but it's like you have a foot fetish, but you don't know how to give a good foot massage. That bothers me. But when I'm at a lifestyle event,
Yeah,
usually foot fetishists, they're good at massaging, and they should be. I'm opinionated on this, and they should be.
You have a right to have an opinion on this. They're your feet.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, if it's like, I'm all about working in the moment and what I feel like, but I do like variety too. So, sometimes I'll do a bit of trampling, maybe we'll incorporate it
Hmm.
into some kind of role play of the characters, if there's characters
So let
and
me ask you this though, with the foot massage. Well,
Mm,
we're gonna get into sissification and role play and all that stuff, but with
mhm.
the foot massage, in your opinion, what makes a good foot massage?
Ooh, a lot of things.
Because I'm gonna have to probably tonight. I'm gonna have to give one. I need all the help and ideas I can
Mm.
get. What makes a good foot massage?
Well, just what really makes any massage or any being with a person is to truly connect and be present once again, right? And this is why I'm like meditation, being in the moment, focused on the foot, not what you're trying to get from it. And this is like sex coaching 101 for men. We're going to target men in this of how to be a better lover. But this really applies to anyone, okay? Is like not thinking of like, I need to have this orgasm. I want to have that. That's never going to get you and even the way I just said that, get you. You're not going to have the best sex. The best sex really is very tantric. You're very like in the moment. You don't know what's
Yes.
going to come. You're really
Yes.
present. So this is like the 101 for everything. Not focused on outcomes, but you are really focused on what your intention is I want to serve my lover and I want to really pamper their feet and be with their feet, like their feet are a being, it's an extension of them, right? But also reflexology is very nice. I like it personally. Looking at some YouTubes maybe where people are actually teaching technique, seeing if your partner likes to have oil or whatever rubbed on them, maybe using hot oil or not, too hot, right? Um, yeah, finding all these little sweet spots to it.
Dan Vladimir asks, "What are your thoughts on medical play?"
I love it. It's fun. I don't do needle play on people who see me, clients anymore. I had a needle stick many years ago and that just freaked me out. I used to love doing needle play. So now it's like I want to see your test results and let me get mine too. That freaked me
Yeah.
out, you know.
Well, and COVID did that too. Also, it's just the
Yeah.
heightened sense of awareness when it comes to,
Mhm.
you know, especially with me having a liver transplant. You don't see me doing blood play every night.
Oh, yeah, I bet. I bet. But, yeah, it's fun role play. I love role play with it. I love
I
sound.
have a,
I still do a
I
lot
have
of
sounding.
Mhm.
We'll talk about sounding, but I have because of the transplant, I have a very strong um, appreciation for the medical fetish. You
Mm,
know, yeah,
appreciation.
let's put it that way. Appreciation.
Oh, yeah,
Sounding. Okay.
appreciation.
I've never been sounded. I don't really have any interest, but that's just me, to each his own.
Mhm.
But I would imagine it's um, anxiety inducing for people who've never done it before, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
for those who've never ever sounded, or someone who's interested in being sounded,
Mhm.
what is your advice?
Alright. First things first is it feels different for everyone. Some people love it, receiving it, and some they're like, "Ooh, this is really weird." And then some, it's like that same thing that you have with other kinds of, other kinks or kink activities, whatever you wanna call them, where you're like, "I don't know, do I like this?" You're kinda confused maybe or something. So that's out of the way. Then it's like, okay, I this one just comes into my head right now is we have to remind ourselves that what we are seeing in a fetish porn or clip, it may be with someone very experienced, maybe inexperienced, and they just are putting up with it. We don't know unless they're interviewing them like kink.com or something. But anyway, that conditions a lot of people to thinking like they have expectations. They go in with expectations. Really, it's like you want to be very clean about the sounding equipment as well. This is very important. And make sure the cock that you're playing with is clean too, because anything you're sticking in there, it's bringing bacteria in. So that's why it's important to wash and do like an alcohol swab on the top too. Like these are practical
Gotta.
things, but
Oh yeah, I've got it. So at the Mischief Manor, there's a friend of ours who absolutely loves sounding. He has a big kit, like a medical kit, zipper, comes
oh
out,
yeah.
and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Do you have experience with like the big ones and stuff
Yeah,
like
I'm
that,
like
or?
about to grab my thing over there. Should I?
Yeah, sure, go
Here,
get it.
I'll show you which one we usually stop at, which is a bummer. Hope I didn't flash everyone there because we're
In the
online.
meantime, go to yourkinkyfriends.com and also you get 15% off all items lockedandlust.com with YKF offer code. The offer code YKF, 15% off. All inventory locked and lust. Get a chastity device. Get a partner to put you in chastity. It's fun. It's fun. It's great. It's disciplined. It's sexy. You will always be horny. And you'll always be thinking about sex. For a little while, then it'll wane, but then it'll come back. It'll always come back because you'll be reminded that you're locked, and you'll be reminded that you have someone to lock you. While we're waiting on Mistress Pomp and her sounds. Oh, and for overrated, underrated, everybody out there, get the questions. I mean, get the overrated, underrated questions ready. So stuff like French maid outfits, sounding would be a perfect one. Anything like that. Oh my God, she's taking a long time, isn't she? Maybe we'll edit this out. Oh, Stan has a good question. What about sounding plus vibration? I'm gonna ask that. And then Sunshine says, "Note
Okay,
to
hang
self."
on. I found one kit. I have two kits
Oh,
actually.
here she is.
But the one that I wanted to bring out, it's somewhere here, but I'm messy right now. I'll say. I need a slave. I need a slave to help me out with some
Do you
organizing.
hear that, everybody? Mistress Pomp needs a slave. Flipside writes, "I went to serve my lover. I don't think enough partners think this way. Mine does. Oh, I'm a lucky skilled robot. Oh, thank you, Sunshine." Oh, she continues. Okay, so everybody, we
Okay,
have shows on Sunday.
we have.
Oh, here she is. She's back. Great.
Thank you for your patience as I dug into an avalanche of materials there. Okay,
What you got?
so I've got two kits here, and we've got this type, which are the kind that go like that. Oops, let's show it off better. And I don't place these back in usually because they're all sanitized in the bag, but this kind is basically like it goes up to here and then the rest it's already opened up your hole, so they just I don't know, that's how they designed them.
Wow.
So
I haven't seen those before. I saw the other ones. I've seen that. Wow.
yeah, usually I don't see. I hope that crinkle isn't like terrible in everyone's ears. You know how it is when the crinkle sound picks up on your.
This is the kink community. Yeah, we embrace the uncomfortable.
Yeah, you're right. Deal with it.
So let me ask you this: as someone when you sound somebody,
Hmm.
everyone's so focused on, oh, they're looking at that, and then the person who wants to get sounded pays money for it, or really asks you or wants you to do it so much. But how does it make you feel?
It's very, very meditative and sensual. It feels so good. The control factor. of like, especially knowing that it's like, when else does this happen to them? Never, unless someone else is doing it the next time. And
Yeah,
it's
the next time I get sounded, I'm gonna say
weird.
it's Thursday again.
Oh, funny. You're funny, Nicholas. I love it.
Chris
Yeah.
Makos is now following you on FetLife.
Okay, good. Yeah. My Fet life is slightly neglected. It's a little bit it's a challenge to juggle all these platforms.
It is. Oh, and that goes to the next question. First of all, where is Goddess? Where are you now? You're in Florida, correct?
In South Florida right now. So I'll be, I travel. I tend to travel. So I'm going to be in the Southwest again, but I don't know the dates, and it's going to be this summer. And then I'll visit New York City at some point, but this is where I'm basing myself these days.
Now, what are some misconceptions of the kink of just Florida? So, okay, I'm in
Hmm.
Jersey. I'm in New York, New Jersey area. Florida, there's the political aspect with the burning books, there's the Santa stuff, but then you get like there's the drug aspect and the club aspect, of
Mhm.
course. You know, there's but there's a kink community there. There's a
Oh
strong
yeah,
kink community down
very
there.
big.
Yeah,
Mhm.
what's it? I was talking to the people at Crave. Remember that? Was it last year? They went to like a city council meeting or something like that. A mistress came in with like with
Oh
subs all head to toe latex, and they started some. So
yeah, I
what are
didn't
some
know what the
misconceptions
story
about
was on
Florida?
that actually.
Oh, please tell us more.
Oh, I don't know. I want to know now that you mentioned it, because that article has like taken so much of the SEO away from pro doms. Like that has taken up so
Really?
much Florida dominatrix space. I don't even know who they are. So you
Wow.
said that you do, but it like dropped my ranking, which is like really really pissed me off, because like
Wow.
we don't have arrows, we don't have a lot of these platforms now, like Max
Yeah.
Fish, like even the ones that sex workers used to commune on, like was it a cute Amber Cutie and Stripper Web, like these all went away.
Collar me.
Is that gone now?
I think that's been gone for a while.
Really? Yeah, so in that article,
I
there's like
think. I don't know.
so many, and it's like taking up the whole first page of Google. I'm like,
Wow.
fuck you.
Well, speaking of platforms and the lifestyle, a lot of people get burnt out. You know what I
Oh,
mean? They and some a very good friend of mine. I don't want to mention names, but she's taking a break.
mhm,
Family issues come up. Illness, work, money, health, you name it. There's a million and one reasons to kind of give up the lifestyle or to take a break,
mhm.
right? Was there ever a point where you were almost burnt out? And obviously, you're not 100% burnt out because you're still you got the fire burning. But what relit that flame?
Mm,
Well,
it's an epic question. First, I want to say that I think it is actually very important for us to talk about burnout, as in for sex workers too, because I was told from the start, like, you're gonna get burnout at some point. And I didn't get it at the time, especially when you're a baby dom and you're like, fuck yeah.
yeah,
Whoa, how could I ever get burnout? Like,
yeah.
um,
You got the frenzy, you got the fire.
I didn't even really get what it was like at all.
Yeah,
And what it really is like is it's sort of like depression in a way. I consider it a type of depression personally. I consider it a depression that centers around, your calling in the world, and that you need some changes around that calling, or a change. You're called into something else, which is what started happening to me. I went through like, I think all of us were battling burnout in 2020, 2021. I'm not like a fully online person of like that's my only sustenance of finances, right? I love the in-person connection. This does
yeah.
satiate it though. We're keeping it real, But
Hmm.
I love real-time sessions, like being in the flesh with someone. And I like that type of sub client or whatever their orientation is, client that sees me, that they have to have the balls to go through my process and to see me in person. That's not the same online. So these things contributed, a lot of contributed to burnout for me. And I'm not someone who can just churn out content when I have like, it has to be like heartfelt for me. It has to be like I really care about it. Even if it's something that's amateur, it's like I believe in it, you know? And that was becoming very difficult. So I was like battling it. And I decided at the end of 2020, I just left New York, New Jersey area where I was living and working and based. And I put all my stuff in a U-Haul and I just put it in like a storage unit out west. And I just traveled for like, and lived like totally nomadically for 2.5 years. And I explored all these places and, you know, I toured around while I did that as well. So I got to like, I love to see what it's like in like, oh, what is it like in Seattle with the subs? What is it like in this city, in this city? A kink nomad. I like it. Yeah. I called it nomadic goddess for a while. Yeah, but I will say it's this is the thirst trap is over here. South,
Yeah.
South Florida
So with
thirst
this,
trap.
I'm a romantic, and I really
You're a
am. And
what?
so I'm a romantic at
Yeah.
heart. So the nomadic life, riding the equator,
Mm,
traveling, just going, living
mm.
out of a suitcase or hotel to hotel, whatever. You know, that can be appealing and very romantic to
Yeah.
me. After you did those 2 years, what would you say you've learned from that all those travels?
So much. So I've actually been traveling and living in different places for 13 years. This is my first time choosing to base myself like down in Florida where I was born. And I learned this has been my whole journey is like experiencing what it's like in different cultures or different environments, and what are the running threads with all humans and what's different, you know? So that fascinates me, like sociology and anthropology is like
Yeah,
super
me
fascinating.
too.
Like,
That's why I'm doing this.
yeah, and you know what? We gotta throw in a question. I do wanna finish this question, but there's just, like,
Oh yeah.
time. It's like, there's such a big difference between the kink scene and, like, especially, like, as I'm speaking also especially as a pro dom, the requests in UK compared to here. They are fucking so kinky, it's like, that's in their genes.
Okay, we're going there. What kink? UK kink, US kink. Kink requests.
Like
US, the
this?
UK version versus the US version. All right, let's take it this way. All right, let's say a sissy. A typical. What's it? A typical American cross-dresser sissy like goes to you. What do they want as opposed to a UK sissy who comes to them? How do
Mm.
their approach different? Their styles different? Their kinks? How's it different?
Yeah, I would say I'm trying to think of all right. In UK, really, there is that whole like theme of sissification where there's like the tea party theme. That's a thing. I've
Oh yeah,
never had
Miss
that
Silk.
request over here. Yeah. Yeah, that's never
Okay.
been a request. In general, the requests are just more they're like more intricate, more nuanced over there. There is okay, this is a difference I notice now. A lot of the sissies over there, they will take more pain, at least the ones that came to me than over here. They're not as into it for some reason. We don't know why. I don't have the data. I wish I did.
Wow. You
Yeah.
hear that? US sissies, UK sissies take more pain than US sissies. Wow, you've heard that we
Yeah.
should start a competition, like a coliseum.
But you know what? It's also like it's kind of a general in general too, because the roots really like okay, caning and paddling and all these things, like I have such a tenderness, especially for the subs, the UK subs that are like in their 50s and 60s, etc., who they really did go through that in school. And so it's like locked in them. So this is like this is really a thing, and it's not
Oh,
so much
definitely.
that the thing is not the same here. Yeah, maybe people they got spanked by their parents, and that could be a running theme, you know. That may
Right,
die
there's the
out
headmaster.
eventually.
The headmaster punishes.
Yeah,
Yes. They
yeah.
used to beat their
Cultural.
they used
Cul
to beat the children. They would. Not I mean, I'm it's a
Mm.
nervous laughter, but all right. So let me put it this way. Um, Platforms, the lifestyle, people get burned out. I look at it this way in the sense that there's always another party. I'm an old rave kid from New York.
I
I used to
love
be,
that.
there was always a party going on. As soon as a party was over, there's another party going. I look at kink the same way. There's
Mhm.
always a party. Same
Yeah.
thing with like platforms. There's always another
Oh,
platform,
I
right?
know.
So, right, like Twitter's now X. I don't, I
Mhm.
haven't, you haven't sent me a message on MySpace in a long time.
Do I
So,
don't even think I have my account anymore on there.
so that'd be funny. We
Oh,
kink.
my
Imagine the kink community just take over MySpace, make it like filthy. It already is. No one's using it, right? Anyway,
Tumblr. Pretty
Tumblr. Yeah, Tumblr. I try to get back on Tumblr every once in a while.
well,
You
so
know,
some of my old Tumblr accounts that I followed, they're still there, which I was, like, so happy that they're, like, a lot
yeah.
of like, gay erotic art and, like, erotic art history. Thank
It
goodness.
used to
More
be a
stuff out
haven.
there.
It used to be a
Mhm.
haven for like sissification, transvestite training, femdom, all that like chastity stuff like that. And then they took all the porn out, and then people went somewhere else, and they're like, oh, we'll add it again, and then it didn't. It's not the same. So like
Yeah.
collar me's gone, or I don't know if they go anymore, but like right now we have FetLife and
Yeah.
certain things. What are the platforms that you're using now, and what are the platforms that you think we should look out for?
No, to be honest, I'm not sure. I got spread too thin. That was a source of burnout, spreading myself too thin. And I used to do OnlyFans. I never really liked using OnlyFans. And then I closed that account like a couple years already ago now. Um, Everybody's saying they like, what's the one? Loyal fans. And I've been on the fence of if I want to try it. To be honest, what I would prefer trying is just a connection like once a month like this with my subs. And I don't know who's really interested in that, but I used to do it on Instagram. I used to do a lot of lives and they fucking banned my account a few years ago and I've been on the fence like do I want to make a new one or not? Um but I want to be doing something be using one that I can speak freely. I don't
What did they ban you for? Was there a specific thing they banned you for?
No, we don't know. I went back into the account, it was like it could and here's the thing is, like, I barely showed any skin in these photos. My hunch was I had 1 or 2 photos of me spitting into an ashtray, and maybe that pissed somebody off, some goody little two shoes or something. I
They
don't know.
really like smoking.
I didn't know what
They
it
took
was.
offense. The nicotine industry took offense that you're spitting in ashtrays. I don't know. Okay. Roke 3 says, were you a headmistress in England for English naughty schoolboys?
No, but that would be fun.
They want you to be. The boarding school paddling mistress. Stan Vladimir asked, have you had clients where they have difficulty getting in the session because they're thinking about that you're not enjoying it?
Unless they haven't to they yeah, unless they haven't told me that. I don't know. I don't think so, though. Um, it's kind of rare, I would say because I'm so present that they know that I'm present, but I'm thinking of this, like, one session I had a couple of months ago now, where that sub just wasn't present, and received 0 eye contact, which to me, I don't like that. I want eye contact unless I
Yeah.
tell you to not look at me.
Well,
Um,
you said be here now, right?
yeah.
Be here now. And I notice a lot of people, and including me, my own attention span. The liver transplant like did a control alt delete on my brain. So my cognitive abilities are like I'm trying to, stay aware, keep them in check, so to speak. Or, you know. Um, what do you
Mhm.
do? when it's someone is not present. Like they're way too preoccupied because I think the attention span of each generation is getting lower. You know,
It
especially with
is.
media, TikTok, and everything like that. It's just the way it is.
Mhm.
So
If
what do you
you're
do
not
with someone with a short
yeah,
attention?
yeah, I mean, like, it will get lower and lower if we're not cultivating an attention span. We have to actually work at it and meditate and stay like really be committed to being in the present moment, which means like, you can do this at any time. Is like this is what's cool with kink as well is like getting someone really in the moment. Like, what does this feel like? The sensation of it on your skin. But for me it's like the connection starts when it starts before they come through the door, and I have everyone do a consult call with me, so that establishes some connection first, and a lot of subs love this. It rests their nerves a lot. It's great for me too, because I've never met this person before, and it gives me a little bit more into their brain or whatever they're thinking, and a read on them. And then they come, but when they come into the door, it's like that's that moment too. And how am I going to um how do I want to first connect with them? Normally it's very warmly, unless they like did something that I don't know. There was someone that recently I pulled up on something. What was that about? And I was like kind of cheeky about it initially, but usually it's starting off on like a very general terms, like they're not a sub yet, and I'm guiding. I'm orchestrating us into them becoming more. And this starts with like the ritual really of like CFNM, clothed female, naked male, if anyone doesn't know, is like the protocol. I love protocol. And that's part of this ritual too. It's like, all right, I want you to put all of your earthly possessions into the box. And just like every little detail. Also, even the way that they're showing up and giving me the tribute. That tells you a lot about a person too. And I've had some
Can
redo
you
that.
expand on that? How they show up and give you the tribute? How does some people give you the tribute differently or
Ooh, I
better than not?
had someone recently. I have a protocol, I have an instructions and etiquette that everybody receives, and in it, it says that they must put the tribute in a white envelope and bring that to session. This is like the remaining tribute after the deposit. And some of them forget. I have started an art project, by the way. This is like a tangent here where I'm saving all the white envelopes because I didn't for years, but now I'm going to tack them up to some art
Right
piece,
on.
right? But that's really just getting someone into the mode. And this is something that I really appreciate about Japanese culture. They could do a better job about not wasting so much plastic, but I love the formalities of that because it puts someone into a headspace of like a ritual or taking the time to do something, putting that effort in. And we've lost touch with putting effort in our culture.
Yeah, I noticed that. Okay, so I noticed myself. I noticed I rush myself.
Yeah.
It's stress, and even when it comes to kink, I notice that I do it to myself sometimes. So even to prepare for this interview, right,
Mhm.
I have to. There's a whole routine. First of all, there's music to get my personally spirit up,
Yeah.
but just I have to shave, shower, all that stuff. I had to go to a part. I had to go to a tea party, and then I had to come here. I had to come here, lock. I had
Sissy
to.
party.
My cock has to be locked up. I don't lock my own cock up, so that
Mm.
means someone has to lock my cock up. That means that has to be clean, has to be all that stuff. Then there's the garter belts, and then the stockings. And what if I'm running late? So right now I'm locked up. I'm wearing all this stuff underneath all this
You're
stuff.
in garters
But
now?
yeah, totally. But it's fishnets nonetheless. But
Oh.
still, there's a ritual, and I think that the ritual, whenever I find myself going like, giving myself a guff that I have to go through the ritual, I remind myself to like be here now. This
Mhm.
is this is this is part of it. The beauty of kink,
Yeah,
a lot of it is the ritual itself. Is be
very
thankful
ritual.
that you have this ritual.
That's why I'm like, come on, like don't be averse to your own spirituality, because kink, it can be spiritual. It does involve, it's energy work first and foremost, sexual energy work, creative energy, and it's a ritual involved, the formalities, the getting in the headspace, all of this. Um yeah, and like having this like this the intention of it. Like, I am, even if someone I don't connect that well with them, it's about like, I'm grateful for this experience, whatever it's teaching me to. And
Yeah.
that's also involves ego work too, because not everyone's going to be a good fit.
Hmm.
Not everyone's, or maybe it was good, but it wasn't like out of the ballpark, and that can feel soul crushing sometimes because we want to be good at everything. I do.
Yeah. I tend to
Yes.
I tend to enjoy myself more if I put my ego at the door. If I check
Oh
my
yeah.
ego at the door, it's as simple as like that. I enjoy myself more when I check my ego at the door. When a Rogue 3 asks, when does a woman admit she is dominant? Which age?
Oh, it's good. It reminds me of the question about control. All right. Are we answering this from a general viewpoint or from a just kink femdom viewpoint, you know?
Do both. Why not?
Hmm. I need to move my cushion a little. All right. I don't want to move around a million times during this, but I'm on a weird seat right here now. Okay. And I've like, that was like a fake apology there, I'm going to say. So I'm admitting that I just apologized. This is where dominance work comes in, is not entering a room, entering room and not apologizing for your appearance, for whoever, for whatever you are, for you. And this is work that I do feel called to do more with women as I'm growing, is we have lived in this society where we are instructed, we're cultured, I mean, into like apologizing. Don't be too much this, don't be too much that. Like, and yeah, it's what happens with being dominant is you start to weed out like, this is BS. And for me, really,
Yeah.
that, since you're asking about age, that started to really happen like in my 30s now. And 33 was my
Okay.
like spiritual age where things really started to, like, I started massively healing all of these trauma stuff, all the trauma that had happened to me growing up and in my early 20s.
So would you
That's,
agree that women reach their sexual peak around their 30s?
some say that. I
Some
think,
say that.
I mean, some women now say it happens in your 60s too.
Yeah. Let's talk about chastity. Do you have anybody in chastity right now?
I do, and I I need to get to their message because 'cause I'm like, "Oh, it's been like a day."
Oh, it's been a day that they've been in chastity?
Oh, no, they've been in there for a couple of days. I let them out when we played on Monday, but I had them in there a couple days before, so now they're in a monthly lockup, which they should be able to do. Um, but I've had subs that they were, like, basically in, like, a permanent thing, like the guy that I mentioned at the beginning, he was, like, an older slave. He was always in chastity, and that was part of our play. What he never told me, though, till this, I don't know why I'm throwing this in there, was that he didn't tell me this till way later on in our kink relationship, that he was married to someone who I guess wasn't into kink, but forced him to be in chastity so that he could play with others. So she had,
Okay, I've seen that before. I've
yeah,
seen,
yeah.
yeah.
But he never told me till like much later.
Oh, wow. It's because I had a friend who thought of like set it and forget it, like the infomercial. Like, oh, I set it, I set the lock, I send him on my way, on his way. He does whatever the hell he wants, comes back, I open the lock, he's ready to go.
Yeah.
He's all so. I think when it comes to chastity, I'm a fan of chastity play stuff like that. It's not I don't live it 24/7 at all.
Mm.
I enjoy using my cock. The, the person who my key holder enjoys it, So that's great. So it's
Yeah.
not a humiliation thing for me. It's
Mhm.
not a torture thing either.
Mhm. Is it
But
devotional?
yeah, you could say that too. Um, I personally have a fetish for the control. I like femdom. And
Yeah.
I like seriously the control. We'll talk about that.
Oh, yeah, we've
But
gotta get into all that.
oh, okay, we'll definitely get about that. But a lot of it starts with chastity because it's about controlling. So
Mhm.
the main question is, I see a lot of these sissies. They want a key holder. They're looking for a key holder. People
Mhm.
outside the community, they'll be like, "Oh my God, this is terrifying. These women are doing this." No, no, these are people begging women for this,
Yeah.
right? Right. So now, with that being said, how do you amuse yourself once you lock someone up? Now it's up to you to do whatever you know. So how, as a key holder, how do you amuse yourself?
How do I amuse myself as a key holder? Well, first, it's nice. It's nice. I use the word nice a lot. It's nice. It's nice. It's like,
That's
"Ooh,
very nice.
nice.
Great, we're gonna.
That's
I have
nice."
a
Like,
nice night ahead of me.
I have this nice water, but I also put some rose extract in it. It's like, it's nice. It's a little, like, nice cherry on top of my day to know that someone is not able to use it without me telling them what to use it for, or if they can use it. That's nice. I like that. It's nice that their sexual energy is being preserved right now. They're not just wasting it. Now they can use it for something else, maybe in their life, or what I tell them they can use it for. What was the question again, Nicholas?
How do you amuse yourself? And you just amuse yourself by just talking about it, which
I
is that's
know.
a perfect way to amuse yourself.
I mean,
Um,
yeah, I think it's I think it could be a great tool for those who, I wanna say need it, but for anyone who wants to go down that journey, it's
and
a
it can be fun. It can be fun with partners. So,
very
you
intimate.
know, you're a key holder. You
Mhm.
have someone locked in. How do you make chastity fun?
Well, I have my next chastity fantasy that I I haven't been able to do this, but now I'm starting to have an idea of who I might do this with. I want, I'm a hiker. I love hiking and backpacking. I love the outdoors. I want to This has to be with the right person. I want to hike. We're gonna hike together. We're going to bury it on top at the summit, and then we're not gonna get it till later on in the season
Uh,
and go dig it out.
You know what
Of
you could
course,
do?
I guess I'll keep an emergency key. So if they're really that weak, they've gotta hike this whole this whole
You can
mountain.
make a treasure map and
That would be so fun, right?
have a scavenger hunt for chastity keys, and
Oh,
he's
I
got to
love
organize
it.
all his friends. He's got
Oh,
to organize all his vanilla friends to get on a search for it.
let's do that. Yeah. I love a chastity scavenger hunt.
So I'm going to ask this: Do you have? You said you have someone locked up now. Um, Silicone, plastic, or metal?
I prefer the metal because the plastic is like, I'll never forget the, like, boner killer for me that it was when someone's chastity plastic one just, like, fell apart. It was during a splashing session too, and I just, like, I don't love plastic because of what it's done. I mean, I can't be a purist. Plastic has its place, but it's it annoys me though when plastic breaks because it's, like, so bad for the environment, and it's bad for our the testosterone levels, by the way, if you don't know. This is one of the reasons why a lot of men have really low testosterone, and we have a lot of, hormonal issues now in general. But so I'm, like, a little anti-plastic, and then, like, we've got silicone. It's like, I do find silicone fun, even though it's also plastic. I like metal though because it's I like things that are they cater to the ancient fantasies in my head, and a lot of my fantasies are very, like, ancient. So I like that aesthetic, and
Catering.
it's more durable, and it's heavier and clinking around during the day, so it's like a little bit more humiliation maybe.
It's yeah. I tend to use the term permanent.
The key.
It just seems permanent. Even if it's unlocked, you can unlock it. There's a permanence to metal, and everybody can get 15% off all inventory and locked in lust with offer code YKF. Sissification plays a major role with chastity as well.
Does.
Throughout the years, like we're changing, we're growing. You spiritually, emotionally, physically, you're
Yeah.
growing. Has your attitude towards sissification changed over the years?
Hmm. Yeah, let's see. Yes and no. All right. When I first started out, it's like, okay, so I had all this like lifestyle play, and there was like lifestyle play with a lot of different queer people. So it was like, people just exploring, and no one really was like in my kink groups was like, I'm a sissy. Then I played with cross dressers, and that's a little different, right? Like all sissies are cross dressers, but not all cross dressers are sissies in a way, right?
Oh yeah.
And then I got into the profession and I was like, what is this? Like it seems so cliche to me. I'm not gonna lie. And I was like, it felt very kink vending machine to me. And I was like, where can I find the authenticity in this, basically? And I've had scenes where it's like, it's it's its own realm of, we could say it's its own realm of the feminine, but also what the feminine is it's almost, you can define it, but it's almost not definable because it's the birth of everything. Is like of it all.
Yeah.
Everything really
Yeah.
goes back to it.
I totally get it.
Mhm,
I have a fetish for it myself.
mhm.
I don't want to degrade women in any way, shape, or form. So,
Uh-huh.
and I don't, I personally don't use humiliation, and that's just me. That's
Mhm.
just me. So I'm trying to justify the whole fetish, I guess, is to really love the power
Yeah.
aspect, and that's what I would love to talk with about. How,
Yeah. Yeah, you're
so
reminding
how
me
many?
of moments in the
We have a
tampon
question.
aisle with sissies.
What? I'm sorry. Say it again.
You're reminding me of moments in the tampon aisle with sissies.
Oh, please tell us about the tampon aisles with the sissies.
Just like making them pussies, and making them go to the tampon aisle and making them buy it, making them do it dressed up. It's like, and now we're entering this other space in the kink world where it's like, is this ethical to do? And it's like, I don't know. Like kink really goes into sexual shadows, and that's not always what
Yeah.
society is going to say is kosher. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's stuff that is, we're embracing the shadows. So it's not, yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
use that as a quote. Kink goes into sexual shadows,
Yeah,
and
it's
we
it
are
is it
embracing
is
it.
sexual shadow work. There's shadow work in personal development, and this is kink is has a potential of being sexual shadow work when we're doing conscious kink. Because what can happen also over time, to be honest, people don't want to know this, I think, because they want their fetishes. Some people don't want their fetishes because they're like disturbed by it. But as we keep embracing them,
Oh yeah,
it kind of gets transmuted through
interesting.
practice. Haven't you ever met someone that they're like, yeah, I did it so much that it's like it's not really a big thing to me anymore. Maybe they
Yeah.
enjoy it still, but they don't crave it, which is cool. That's a cool place to be.
Hmm. It's a perfect example. I've dealt with so many kinks and fetishes, specifically sissification and chastity and pegging and all that stuff. That
Mhm.
it's like I've done it, so it's not shocking to me anymore. Will I do it
Yeah,
again?
yeah.
Hell yeah! But still, but like it's
Oh,
not like oh my god,
I
it's not
know.
shocking to me anymore. I was actually I had one of those moments. I was hanging on a St. Andrew's cross, and I wanted to be like, and I actually had to like I think my mind was just frazzled at the time. But I literally had to have that moment. I'm like, look around me. Holy shit, look what's going on. This is wonderful.
Yeah.
Being in the moment. So, all right, classic French maid or dirty slut?
Mm. I do like classic everything. I just enjoy classics. Classics, if they're real classics, they're not cliches. I don't like cliches. I like
Mm-hmm.
classics.
Mm-hmm.
But dirty sluts are fun, you know.
Dirty sluts are very fun.
Dirty
Definitely
sluts are
very
so
fun.
fun, especially like like girls that are new to kink in their 20s and they just
Mm.
want to try everything. It's like, yeah, you're a dirty slut.
So back to the sissification aspect with how can people explore? Shout out to Mr. Shari because we're kind of like working on this. We
Hmm.
have sissy chess. We have like sissy charm school stuff like that.
Oh,
Trying to
nice.
break, just like the UK, we're trying to make it more proper a little bit.
Yeah,
Um,
sounds good.
so how can we explore sissification without it being degrading towards
Mm.
women?
Well, I would say first, I mean, that what comes into my head is to actually become more of a space holder for women. Like, listen to what, instead of trying to fix them, instead of trying to invalidate their feelings or, prosecute them for their feelings, or be like, "Oh, you poor thing." Listen to us and try to understand what the woman's experience is like. And we do have a shared experience, and we do have collective experience, right? Like, I mean, most women know what it's like to feel just unsafe in the world all the time. You can feel unsafe that you're being looked at all the time or whatever. So I would say that that's a really good point to have, and it would be the same of like anything that you're playing out the fantasy of, maybe. Like you're never gonna really know what that person's experience is like. Like I do race fetish, I enjoy it. I don't know what it's like to be a black military guy who's seeing me. They're fun. Some of my favorites. Um, but I like that, and I can ask them these questions out in the open now. And actually going, I'm going there in this place that is like it's very vulnerable. So being open to the vulnerability as well,
Hmm.
and that you are playing with someone that, okay, so in this case of like a mistress who's a woman, let's say, and they're maybe humiliating you and sissifying you and all of that, this may be coming also for them. It may be a shadow work for them that they are, over the years, they're like, "Oh, yeah, I'm gonna subject this fucker to, like," I don't know, do we need to bleep this? Is this going on YouTube?
No, it's
I
fine. You can do it.
I'll keep it down on the cussing, but, like, we want this to reach people. My message
Yeah.
is, like, to understand that this person they may be doing this consciously or unconsciously, and coming from this, I'm gonna call it what it is, trauma. We all have experienced it to
Yeah.
some degree, and this is what we are acting out. And this is what kink gives us, that vanilla people need to understand, is it gives us a blueprint. We'll say no. It gives us guidelines to explore sexual shadows and collective shadows or personal ones and bring them into the light, right? And so we're doing this. And so you may be playing with someone that they're like I said, I'm going into the tampon aisle. I'm like, he's this sissy is gonna know as close to the experience of what it's like to be humiliated in the aisle, trying to figure out what tampons to buy, and be, like, and they'll never really know maybe, but they get a little, and they're also consenting to go through, like, to take a little bit of that, my experience into. And it's very interesting work. It really is. Does this make sense to us?
Definitely. Rogue 3 asks, can a
Mhm,
lot of humiliation destroy a relationship? Now, before you answer that,
mhm.
um, back to sissies and the sissy narrative, as typical sissy narrative, a lot of it's not true, but yeah, it is. Some of it's
Yeah,
true. Some of it's based on reality. The woman takes a man, a young man, locks him in chastity, puts him in women's clothes, and makes them, gives them like sissy hypno, makes them
yeah.
suck cock, pimps them out, and then that's their life now forever. And
Right.
a lot of it deals with that's the narrative. You know, I know
Yeah.
people who are living that narrative right now. I've interviewed them on
Oh,
the
yeah.
show. Um, humiliation plays a major role in it,
Yeah.
right? I would imagine that constantly being humiliated it weighs on you, and can it destroy a
Mhm.
relationship? So, can a humiliation based DS relationship be healthy?
Well, this is why I believe in having some kind of aftercare personally and checking in with the subs or your partner, whoever it is. Like, I get it that some people have this, like, they want to have this like 24/7. And it's like, well, when do we decompress, or when do we talk about like the growth of like what boundaries we went through now, or like what, they're never talking about it then, or maybe they are, but
Mm.
it's always with the same position of their DS dynamic, right? And for me personally, I don't want that, because I am about I'm also about a holistic personal development of people.
Oh yeah.
That means you're not all kink 24/7, most people.
Yeah. Even the people with lifestyle, you can't live it. Even if you live it like 24/7, you got to pay taxes. You know, it happens. You got to fill out paperwork.
Yeah.
In other words, it's a metaphor for you got to do normal, boring stuff. Mark
Yeah.
Steed has a question. I'm curious. Does Mistress Pomp go with the sissy to the tampon aisle, or does the sissy do what doesn't?
That the one I was just thinking of, like, I went into the store, but I did not go down the aisle. I watched them like I didn't even know them, just to check to see, and to see their level of uncomfortability or dedication to finding what I told them to get, all of that. So I was like, watching for my own benefit too, and for theirs to a degree. But yeah, to know that they actually did it too.
Speaking of power, we have a question. When was the last time you pooped on someone?
Was it like last week we did one? It's a common
Uh,
occurrence.
yeah. So, how throughout the years, just like we change, right? We
Yeah.
do. Our outlooks change, our perspective change. We're growing. We're evolving.
Mhm.
Toilet play, toilet training, all that stuff. How has your approach and how has your philosophy behind
Mhm.
toilet play changed throughout the years?
Hmm. I'm like, "It's gotten richer. More notes." No, it has. It's I would like some more interesting requests, though, I'll be honest. I've been getting the most boring requests lately in general, and I'm like,
Okay.
"I need to go back to the UK or something." Like, it's I don't know what that is about. I don't know, but I would
Boring toilet play request.
like
So,
when
all right, what is the
request.
boring toilet play? What
I
is the
mean, I'm
boring toilet
getting
play?
applications more and more these days. I don't know if this is because the platforms are shutting or what went on, where they just put 3 things. It's like, and my application asks for a little bit more, like, what draws you to me as a dom, like more nuances, and they just put it like it's a list. That tells me nothing about you. That gives me
Yeah.
nothing to work with. Like, which is like, for a while, this also was something I went through when I was getting out of burnout. I was like, "What gave me burnout?" And I did a freaking overhaul on, like, everything, my philosophy, everything. What do and to be honest, all my philosophy was always there. It's always it's just gotten, like, it's grown, you know? But when it's like we call it scene partners in acting, right? Like true acting, and BDSM involves your scene partner. I'm getting a lot of really boring scene partners, and it's like, maybe it's like, educate yourself on what this is, maybe.
Yeah.
So I've been in this little thing where I'm like, what can I bring more into this further? Like, why is this really a fantasy for you? Like, tell me. Is it because you're like, well, I like to see the puckering open and close of a hole? Like, what is that doing for you? And what do you imagine happening? What is the state of being that you want me to put you in? Not just, I want to be humiliated. Like, I want to feel like I have been completely wiped out of, like, there's this one UK sub. He's one of my favorites, and he thought that I was. I'm going on a big tangent here, but this I just have
It's
to.
all right.
He thought he was like boring, and I was like, you're like one of my favorite people that ever calls me. Like, you better book when I'm in UK, but in person. But he's very elaborate, and it's very interesting to hear what it is for him specifically. And so I like that. And so over the years though with this, it's like I've started to understand this in a new way also. Like, also I feel like I'm giving a fecal transplant to people. And I eat very well. I eat mostly all organic, unprocessed food. You're getting a transplant, and a lot of people have gut problems these days because there's a lot of toxins in the food. So I
Yes.
feel very, very proud of that role, that if they can consume it. But also another thing that I had to start telling subs on the consult call, especially, I was like, so you see, like, you follow me on Twitter, of course, and like you see that I do a lot of different styles on there. Like sometimes I have tweets that are like they're really humiliating. It's like slap yourself. And then I have like
Hmm.
really sensual ones because I like to work in. I like. I don't like being pigeonholed. I like variety and exploring different modes, and like I can do sensual, I can do more extreme, I can do a blend, blah blah blah. And some have this impression that it has to oh that I'm 100% about consumption and everyone must do that. And it's like, is that because you were reading just a couple of tweets and those are the ones, or is it because they're just projecting only, and it's probably the second, they're projecting, and that's what they see also because they're projecting only their fantasy. And it's like, no, no, no. Okay, that's like one part of the realm of Mistress Palm. There's other realms too. Like, all right, I had a poo session a couple months back. It's just this like jolly guy that he doesn't want like to eat it. He doesn't want he's fully embraced this kink. He just like wants to talk for 15 minutes or whatever, and then have me poop on him and tell him to just rub it in himself in the tub.
Hmm.
And he doesn't even care to be humiliated or anything. And I was like, that's all? Really? Like, he's like, and he said it killed me when he was reading through Reddit, and he was like, I've read things, where it's so stigmatized, and it's actually so common too. So stigmatized that he's read people on Reddit that they're like, I finally tried it and I want to kill myself. And it's like, oh my gosh, really? What? Because you ate some poop. All right, look, it's gross if we're going from this perspective of you're not supposed to eat poop, right?
Yeah.
Didn't your mother tell you when you were like a baby? Because most kids did that apparently, they say. They you play with your poop as a kid. Didn't your mother tell you? No, but it's yeah, okay, it's gross, all that, blah, 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 judgment, but it's actually really common. And so like I do feel like I need this like revisit around it. What so resonates with me is like that it's super intimate, and it's really humiliating in the true sense of like lowering oneself, becoming that human furniture, and that you're receiving like a piece of the goddess through me into you. There's a lot of things about it. It's just,
I noticed that you said people just like list certain things. Like, oh, yeah. Okay,
yeah.
if you're, let me just give a message to people. If you're out there and you want to be a human toilet, just like if we're shopping for a toilet, we need to know the size of the human toilet. We need details, in other words. We need the size of if it's big, if it's small, the flushing, if there's only a hole for farts, like we need to know everything. So just yeah, details. The devil's in the details, as they say.
Yeah.
So let's
Mhm,
go to sadism. When's
mhm.
the last time you were impressed by either your own sadism or someone else's sadism?
All right. This wasn't intentional.
Usually, sometimes it is.
Violated somebody's hard limits within like the beginning of a session. One of my subs, I hadn't seen him in a few years actually because I hadn't been back to that city. He loves ball busting. He loves really a lot of humiliation. Like if there's other mistresses around, take him around and make them have them like humiliate him too. Blah blah blah. Anyways, blood is one of his limits. And I don't know, he has a pesky cock, I don't know what to say. Popped
Pesky.
the skin, you know, the tender skin that's, like, right under the tip where it's, like, that vein probably is where I popped it, and it's just, like, a whole pool of blood. And I was like,
Ouch.
"Whoops," like, we just went over your limits, like, 5 or 10 minutes ago." And then I was like, "Alright." You know, here's this thing is there's definitely been other situations as a dom where it's like, "Ooh, shit," you know? Like, I've had someone's prostate, like, basically tumble out, and they didn't tell me that they knew. But anyway, there's those moments
What was that like? Wait a second. So the prostate came out?
I mean, I was pushing their anus back in. This is, like, my first year doing this. This was years ago. It was like, pops out, you know, they asked for all this anal play and, like, I mean, I got freaked out. I was like, "Oh my god." Like, I wasn't now I'm laughing about this, but I'm that's an uncomfortable smile here.
Oh yeah.
I was like, "Oh my god," like, you know, you're like, "Did I break them?" kind of thing, and it's like, "What do I do?" Like, I've never had
Am
this
I going to jail? Yeah.
Yeah, that's maybe on there. So it's like, keep your control, you know, and, like, I was like, "Okay, so we have a little problem. It seems like your anus basically just fell out a bit." And I was like, "I'm gonna push it back in because I don't know what else to do here." And I, like, pushed it back in and just held it there, and I was like, "We're gonna stop with anal play right now." And
Yeah.
they, like, asked me to do, like, really massive anal play on them, like, in another email, and I was like, "I don't feel comfortable doing that with you anymore, like, because your anus is," you know, like, I
You have
don't
to
know.
like sit him down. We have to have a talk. We have to talk.
Yeah, yeah, it was, um
After all that, Goji Gaming says, "Do you like barefoot ball bust?"
oh, yeah, yeah, I love it. I mean, it's easier to do than in heels. Keep your balance a
San
little.
Vladimir says, "I have another idea for a sub. Should have a toilet seat mask. You can give him a nickname like Toilet Seat Man."
I like that. A
Yeah,
toilet seat mask, we
toilet
could
seat man.
that's cool.
Okay. Row
Well,
3 has another question. If you can choose only one, Mistress, skirt or trousers, which will you use to submit an evil alien king that wants to dominate the earth? What kind of shoes would you use for that battle? Okay. All right, Mistress
how
Pomf.
do you come up with these things? Alright. I would probably how much movement am I doing is really the question first.
Uh, would you submit to an evil alien king that wants to dominate Earth. Okay, so we're talking about aliens. Let's say you have as much movement as possible.
Do I still have my teleportation ability?
Why not? We got aliens. We get
That's I'll
teleport. Yeah,
do
you time
the skirt.
travel, teleportation, it works. You do anything.
I'll do the skirt. Yeah.
Okay, you'll look sexy. That's for sure.
I mean, it kinda depends on my energy really if I'm more, like, feeling
You
the
look sexy in
feminine
pants though.
flow or the trouser
Trousers.
flow.
Um, Mark Huber says, "How do you feel, Mr. Spons, if you like very strong smelling feet in nylons?" So your feet, do you put them in nylons, or do your feet subs, your feet fetish people, do you like them in nylons or bare?
I do wear a lot of stockings. I love, classic looks, and I enjoy especially if we're doing a whole scene, it's like s we're doing a little taste of nylon play. Now we those might get stripped off. Now ooh, now they're bare too, you know, so it's like we're going to each thing, you know? Um, but yeah, I like
We have a
both.
question. This is the West question regarding pegging.
Oh, okay.
Why are men so obsessed with their own assholes?
All right. I think honestly, all right, there's a few things. First, all right, the quick one comes second, which is that the prostate, you know, you have a prostate, so it actually can feel good and you can have prostate orgasms. But what precedes that is really that men, when they're getting pegged, they're exploring this submission. They're exploring their feminine side to receive the penetration. So they don't get to explore that usually until they, get penetrated. So those are like two ones. Yeah, we'll go with those for now.
Mark Steed asks, does Mistress Pomp play with ABs, adult babies? And do you
Hmm.
do humiliating outings with them? So
I
tell us
love
about your ABDS.
I love adult baby. As long as you don't, let's phrase this in the positive. It's better. I love adult babies. I love adult baby diaper lover play. So long as the sub has respect for my boundaries and is conscientious about my time, because very often a lot of adult babies, they desire a lot of attention.
They
And
act like children.
yes, yes, so it's like you have to give a lot of boundaries, and, like, but I also have a really big fondness, a big tenderness for adult babies. Like, I would prefer doing more sessions where it was just like a nurturing
Mm.
session. Like, I like reading people's stories. I like doing, like just sweet, like, nurturing roles
Oh,
where it
yes.
doesn't really even involve, like, sadism much.
Oh, without a doubt. Oh, shout out to all my ABDL people out there.
Mhm.
Uh, Pegging. All right, we have a question here. How would you how would you describe in the early days, in the early days of pegging, what are some mistakes that you've made?
Mistakes. Mm, no, I wouldn't say actually. I mean, that sounds arrogant, but let me think if I would make mistakes.
We can get back to that.
Because I had pretty good, I would say I had pretty good training with it,
Who
but
trained you? Who trained you in pegging?
intimate partners. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, oh, definitely intimate
Yeah,
intimate
and also,
partners.
I've received anal too, so I know what it's like to get fucked in the ass.
Hmm.
Not as a man, because I don't have a prostate, so it's a little different, but you gotta be slow on that and take care, like, and not just make someone pass out. This is a problem too with, like, I'm gonna say this for, like, the vanilla world, because anal's getting so
Please do.
popular, is, like, a lot of, like, vanilla men, they have no training or, experience of how to properly do this, and they just think they can just stick it in, no lube, or like, and just be rough and all of this. It's like you've got to train for that, or you're going to actually you not only probably tear the inside because it is like a muscle to work up, you can make someone pass out and faint because it's so painful. So I'm very mindful of that, like.
Yeah. You
Mhm.
can, I'm going to quote that. You can make someone pass out. Pass out from anal.
Yeah.
You can make someone pass out from anal. Okay. As we say, the kink rabbit hole goes deep. We're evolving. Role play is always fun. Are you
Mhm.
doing anything new? Anything interesting? Where
Mm.
is it? What are you getting into that you haven't been into before? That's, you know,
Mm.
keeping the flame.
Yeah, I love role play. I wanna start getting some new costumes because that does help with it. Let's see. I s What is new? What is new? I've been getting some more a little bit more, what's the word? General requests, I'll call them, where it's like, those are classics, alright? Teacher, student, that kinda thing. I
Yeah,
wanna be
boss,
doing.
boss, boss
Yeah, I mean, they're the
secretary, something.
classics, alright, alright.
Stepmother.
Classics.
Do you get a lot of stepmother stuff?
Not lately, but I've had some intricate ones with that, that's for sure.
My
Uh,
friend Nico, my friend Nico out of Texas.
hmm.
This guy gave her a big script, alien abduction. So
Oh,
she had
yeah.
needed one of the dildos with the laying the eggs, but it's a big script. Like there's lines and everything. It's staged.
Whew. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I like a
All
lot
right.
the ancient kind of stuff, like gods and goddesses or Greek mythology, where it starts to involve, different beings. I like a lot of supernatural stuff. Mhm.
Nice.
Yeah, I used to have the ET one when I was younger. I used to really be into that fantasy.
Stan Vladimir asks, have you cosplayed in sessions where you play the role of a certain character from a novel, a TV show, or a
Yeah.
movie?
All right, the first one that just comes in, it's been a few years, but because I'm back in Florida, it's like someone wanted this like Twin Peaks role play, and I was like, "Oh, really? That's kind of cool, you know?" I really appreciate
Yeah.
these requests because it's usually the person is they've had this kink for a while. They've been fantasizing about this since they were young. And that's like, "Ooh, I feel so honored. Thanks. Let's." It is a little scary. It's like, "Oh, I hope we can get a good one and I don't destroy their fantasy."
I'm surprised. I'm surprised, no, especially with some of the toilet stuff that you do, um, that they haven't tried to like recreate Solo or 128 Days of Sodom, because
You know,
there's a
capacity for that. But I
Sodom.
have had some extreme in the UK, I had a we all know him, I've given him a shout out, Paul the Perv. He had a request years ago, it was, like, multiple days I saved up with Fresh, and the role play was, like, a Harley Quinn type of nurse, and it gets more and more sadistic as we go along, like, at first, it started out as, like, I'm basically, like, showing him ink blots, and then it went from ink blots to, like it's like, "Oh, what do you see here?" He's like, "I see, blah, blah. What do you see here?" And it started to be like scat porn.
Yeah.
It's like, I still see 2 girls, blah, 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 It's like, I'm
You were
afraid
talking about
to use some aversion therapy.
you were talking about UK requests versus US requests. I
Mhm.
immediately just went to Sissification because I'm weird like that. But what are some of the other maybe non-sissy requests that just piqued your interest, that really just got your attention, that were from the UK, that weren't from the US?
Yeah. Well, that was one. I almost thought he real at first, and he was, which is cool. Yeah. Um, I always go back to one man who oh, such a fun scene. I've n not normally do I have ABDL who also want, like, serious s corporal punishment, and he was really into that, but we took it from, like, a very traditional slave and mistress scene to then diapering him, and that was a fun switch there. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna play a game, but
Ooh.
before we do that, all right, role play. We're all dreamers here. The kink community is filled with dreamers with big ideas,
Mm.
but we have to think practically and we have to live our lives. But let's for a second, let's fantasize. Mistress Pomp, let's say you have endless resources.
Mm.
You could go anywhere you want. You could do anything you want to do with anyone you want. What do you do? What is your ultimate kinky fantasy?
Mm. Well, again, a lot of them go back to, like, gods and goddesses types, we have all these different powers. I like I like things where things transform out of things, like the carvings in the walls can come out and I can decide what comes out. Like I have the power of that. And like statues, like I do like human furniture, but it's like, there's the ignore fetish
Mm.
involved where it's like I can even shut
Now,
that off where they don't
now
even
I'm thinking of like
be
kinky
conscious.
hieroglyphics that come out the
Yeah,
cave walls and spank you.
yeah, like stuff like that, really, yeah, and I am very much I'm an animist, like all things have life to them or some energy
Yes,
that
yes.
embodies
I
them
feel the
even
same
down
way.
it's all about how consciousness works, so a lot of my fantasies are quite animist. I like the whole dryads thing and yeah. Those are my personal ones.
Nice. Okay, we're gonna have some fun. It's a game. I like to play overrated, underrated. Okay, so here's how we play. It's
Did
very
we
easy.
play that last time? Can't remember.
No, we might have played the word association game where I say
Okay.
you say the first thing that comes to your head. So yeah, please say the first word that comes to your head.
All
That's
right.
fine. But the one thing we don't want to kink shame, but this is overrated, underrated. So you say something. I'm going to say something like rope. You say whether it's overrated or underrated and why. Your personal opinion. So it's just a personal opinion, and please don't overtly kink shame. But you have every right to not like something if you don't.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But you have every right to love something if you do. And
Sure.
please, this is all about celebration and
All
that kind of
right.
stuff. So, all right. All right. Whips.
Love them.
Why?
Wait, what?
Why do you love whips?
Oh,
What is it about whips that you
so
love?
fun, so classic, like, being out on, like, a ranch or some desert scene, like, I have those photos, like, just, like it's just like, I wanna be in, like, a Western. Okay, that's a role play we wanna do. It's like, we
All
meet
right.
at the saloon.
Calamity Jane.
Yeah.
Calamity Jane is a badass
Why
femme. All
haven't I
right.
I'm gonna have to make some Western
Rope.
photo shoot for and promote that one.
Rope. Overrated, underrated.
No, it's not overrated. Rope is great. It's it's so oh, it's another classic, you know? It's like you yeah, you can do so much with it. I had a rope experience too lately that was done on me, and I was like, "Ooh," because I don't get to bottom for it much.
That is a refreshing experience, isn't it?
It
It's
really
really
is.
wonderful. It feels like an honor to be tied by someone who has such skill. Please tell us
Mhm.
about this rope experience. Where were you? What happened?
It was at a burn, you know, like Burning Man, but not Burning Man, a burn. You're a raver, so you probably know what a burn is, because a lot of
Yeah.
burners are ravers. I love the intersections of these communities. A lot of burners are into kink too. So it was at a pretty big burn, and, I was really feeling the weight of the burn, and, when this rope artist put me in the rope, and I was like, I felt they were pulling the energy, and it was super nice. It was like it was releasing a lot of energy that was blocked. I think I was collecting a lot of energy from the burn, to be honest. So it was like feeling heavy on me, like kind of blocked, if that makes sense to anyone. When you get
Totally.
really tapped in. And it
Yeah.
was like he was like pulling it. It was feeling like a massage in a different way I hadn't experienced before. So cool. And two of my girlfriends, they were watching and they were like, "Oh my god, it's so beautiful." Yeah.
I would like to give a shout out to Briska, Nico Noir, Latex Cowboy, and Rope Aficionado, and DK Blackfish. We had the Rope Show on
Mm,
You Cranky Friends. We had from Mischief Manor live. We had people tied up. I had Sunshine and Briska doing suspension. Then we had Rope Aficionado in Iowa doing suspension, and Nico being suspended by the Latex Cowboy in Texas, and DK Blackfish. It's all in the same live stream, all being tied up by the
that's
same live stream.
beautiful.
That's yes.
That's
There's my way of trying to bring kink rope to the internet community.
yeah. Wow.
All right. Overrated, underrated. Chastity.
The first word that came was like overrated to my brain because I'm like, that should be a given. I think all men should try it out. I think it's great, especially if they're troubled by their touching too much or something. Wasting
And with that being said, 50% off. All inventory locked and locked.
it.
Yeah, it's all about it. All right. Medical play. Overrated, underrated.
So wait,
And
I just
why?
say it. I don't know why I said overrated, but I like it. I love it. Maybe because it's a regular medical play.
Vacuum beds. Overrated or underrated?
I was like, "Fun." Kinda freaky, actually. I haven't been in one in years. I didn't love it, but it's so cool. So it is underrated, I guess?
Fucking machines. Overrated or underrated?
Ooh, underrated. Underrated.
Rogue 3, outdoor BDSM. Overrated or underrated?
Under. We need to do more of it. We need to do more.
When's the last time you did some outdoor BDSM?
It's been a little while. I don't get a lot of requests down here. People are a little more not as willing. I have a lot of married folk, we'll say, or people who are like they don't want to be seen down here.
Mm.
Yeah.
Isn't the weather perfect though?
Now it's getting really hot and humid. We've had
Oh, that's true.
having like a storms all week. Yeah. But I did tell them to they called and they wanted me to give them a request. And I said, you're gonna go outside and you're in the rain, you're gonna get on like a in the child's pose yoga position and spread your anus open so all the water comes down and you're gonna say, kiss the earth and say, I worship Mistress Pomf.
Right. So back to before we get to underrated, overrated, or continue with it, you were talking about married people. They see you. So for people, there's a lot of married people going out there living this
Mm-hmm.
double life. What
Mm.
advice would you give to them?
Ooh, gosh. Well, what would I give to them? The thing that just rolled into my head is like, please don't like degrade your partner or think less of them because they're not into it. Like, isn't there a reason why you're with them? Just because maybe this isn't their thing, or maybe you're embarrassed to talk about it with them. They might have fantasies too, and you just never got up to that intimacy to be able to unfold it with them. So I would hate for someone to see me and now they degrade their partner towards me too. That is in bad taste.
Yes.
Like that I don't like. And it's rare and like usually those types of people, they'll say that on an application and I just won't take them.
Right.
I don't like it. It doesn't resonate with me. Like I understand though, this we offer the safe space, especially for subs who like they're like the older generation of boomers and like they married young and they're never going to talk about this to their wife,
Yeah.
Yeah. Husband, but usually we have male clients. So
Overrated, underrated. Diapers. Overrated, underrated.
I say underrated because I tried one. I had a mistress. I was like, I want you to put me in one. I want to try this out. It was so hard to pee in it. Like, and I'm a pro at peeing and things, but I was like, it was so hard to get out of the mental block. And the feeling of it and being put in one, I was like, wow, now I really get it in different ways. Like, this is
A
maybe
mistress being put in diapers. I gotta put that in the summary. That's good. Dan Vladimir said, it's funny. I was gonna like continue with this underrated, overrated, but you're like me. Everything is underrated. Everything. Everything. I love it all. Stan
Yeah.
Vladimir says, when doing public sessions, have you felt nervous that you might get into trouble if people spot you not knowing what you're actually doing? How do you deal with stuff like
Yeah, yeah. I said that thing earlier of my first slave type that I'm like playing in the streets in Asia. And there is a thing in Asian culture where it's like saving face. I was like, whatever, they're just gonna think we're two crazy foreigners. But I do think like this is one that I wanna be conscientious about, and, like, I
that?
also understand it's like, ooh, it's like, we're playing in public, and that's fun. That's fun. But I don't wanna violate other people's boundaries, so, I've had, like, subs where they drink my stuff at the table, I feel give them a thermos, and that's what they're gonna drink. It's been filled up or something, and that's like, "Okay, no one's gonna know." But they'll not be having a drink here. It's already
Yeah.
in this, so you used to be kinda clever with it, I guess. Yeah, that's why it's fun to be in an event or something where you're around a lot of people in the lifestyle, and then it's, people are more, they're consented to being in the space.
Now, not everyone is as not everyone is as gorgeous as you are. Not everyone is as lightened as you are. Not everyone has that power, the intellect, and everything like that. But they're still kinky, and they still need
Mhm.
to get by. So,
Mhm.
as a culture, as a community,
Yeah.
how can kinky people make money?
Mm, mm. Yeah, all right. So, definitely skill sharing more, and, like, I'm doing coaching as well now in different for different people, right? And that is blending in, like, coaching for kinksters, coaching for people who they're not into kink, but they come to me for holistic health, let's say, right? Or relationship coaching. Bringing also your uniqueness to it, because finding what your authentic touch is, what you're going to bring to it, your personal philosophy, your mission. My mission is not the same as someone else's mission. My principles are not the same as someone else's. So what are yours? Discover it or rediscover it, explore it, bring those into what you want to do. And what do you really want to do? Do you want to do like a workshop? Do you want to um, another thing also is, like, consider what nourishes you, because what nourishes you, it's not always the thing that's going to be like, it might, you might have to find a way to capitalize on it to make yourself make more money from it. That's not the typical thing that people think that's going to make money making clips, blah blah blah, right?
Right.
Finding what your unique intersections of interest. I think this is important because something that becomes like over the years as a pro dom, especially like on Twitter, I started to feel like, does anyone really even care like about what I actually am like all around, and I get
I
that.
do. I
Yeah,
care. That's why we're doing this.
right. No, 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 but I felt that way and I had to.
The average person doesn't give a shit about anybody.
Yeah. No, it's true. I had to really connect with my subs that have been with me, that they know me when the scene is like, now we're just doing aftercare. Now you're giving me a 3-hour foot massage on the couch, and I'm scrolling through Etsy, and I'm like, I want you to get me this too. Yeah, that's nice
Yeah.
moments, nice downtime. But um, yeah, how else we can make money? Hmm. Let's see. This is a great question. Unique offering in the community. Oh, this is a good one for, I don't know who watches this. A lot of subs watch your channel though. I know that. But I don't know how many sex workers or potential sex workers watch it, right? But having more offerings for other sex workers or like women in the scene or something, you know? That's a good one.
Yes. Kink helps kink. So
Mhm.
yeah, and even if offerings and yeah,
Yeah,
like
because like,
we
I
got
went
to.
to, an event recently last month, lifestyle event, and the workshops were, stuff that it's like, oh, disabilities in the community. That was, I'm sure, very helpful to people who have some kind of, that's what they
Oh
titled
yeah.
it. My friend who has a disability prefers it be called a disadvantage, which I understand. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Uh, we're almost done here. Great riff.
Mm.
Griff is here. Is it hard to find time for all of your slaves, Mistress?
It's hard to find time for all of everything in my life. I am currently in a very highly recommended time management book. I'll throw
Okay.
it out there. It's called Getting Things Done. This has been around actually for, I think, like 20 years or something, and it's still current. Even though he wrote it years ago, it was like, dude, this guy was on it, and it's a whole formula and method. And another coach recommended it to me, and I was like, all right, let's see.
What's the name of the book again?
Getting Things Done.
Getting things done.
by
Okay.
what's
All
his
right.
name? Alan something, I think.
Alan
Let me.
Watts.
No, but I love his work.
I like
Getting
Alan.
Things Done by David Allen.
Ah.
David Allen.
Okay. So, all right. This is the final question. We're all looking for something. We're on a path.
Mm-hmm.
We've grown. We're into new things. We're gonna be into new things, but we have experience. Where would you like this kinky path? Where would you like this path to take you now?
Mm.
Where's it going?
Yeah, it's going into the more blending kink. It's always been a spiritual practice for me, like I said, but finding how I want to weave Mistress Pomp's work into that overall coaching priestess work. And that's not going to be the offering for everyone, but I will say that over the years as I've grown, it's becoming less interesting for me to play with everyone. And I want to play with people who they want to combine kink with personal development. They want to explore this like energy work, let's say. So I'm finding more and more tools of energy work that aren't necessarily kinky, but like I have a workshop here. It's like how we can pull out sexual hooks from us. Like someone like we've been hooked by someone else, and we all have been because we're all
Yeah.
leaking sexual energy all day, right?
With
We can
yeah.
pull them out. And this is like, and I'm trying to find like what could be a unique offering where like I want to have a group where it's like a women's only workshop of kink. And I think this is an interesting one because what happens when men come in is it becomes performative. And I would like something that what is it like when it's all women when there's no men around now?
I would love to see that and witness that, but I'm not invited, I guess.
I know.
Oh, I just been cuckolded by Mistress Pomf.
But maybe we will have some like service opportunities for you before and you can run
I'll
some
do.
errands and
I'll
bring.
show up on time. I will show up. I'll be respectful. I will not let you down. Please invite
Oh,
me.
nice.
We're saying our goodbyes. Stan Vladimir. It says it was a pleasure seeing
Oh,
you,
it was
Miss
a
Pomf.
pleasure to have you all here, by the way.
Rogue 3, you are a wonderful mistress. You have a new admirer. And Mistress Pomp, I'm a strong believer in energy and
Mhm.
and acknowledging that energy and using that
Yeah.
energy for good. And I have to admit, you have that fire in you. You
Mhm.
have like you radiate this. You have this energy, this positive energy in you, and you bring it to kink. And I think it's a beautiful thing that should be
Yeah.
celebrated. So,
I love
everybody out there, seriously, be respectful and
no, I love that.
contribute to Mistress Pomp. She is seriously. The kink
Mhm.
community needs someone like Mistress Pomp.
Mhm.
So please,
Yeah.
thank
Yeah,
you so much.
I wanna hear more from subs these days of, like, what if that appeals to them of, like, involving my merging of paths, because what I a lot of subs I think they're afraid also to ask questions when I post them on Twitter, and yeah. Yeah, we'll say it like that. We wanna know more. Maybe I'll do, like, a monthly chat thing again on
Okay.
some platform. We don't know which one yet.
And I can't. Oh, and please, we have a Sunday show every Sunday. Nico Noir and I have a Sunday show. It's only for past guests who will
Mm,
come and go as they please. You, by all means, we'd be honored to have you. Just
yeah, all right.
just come in and talk about being a priestess, talking about how we all need enlightenment in certain ways.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't wanna say we need it. Everybody's on their path, and this is I wanna say
Yes.
this is like there's a we have our ego, we have a spiritual ego too. And a lot of people, if we're not checking our spiritual ego, it's going to be ruling the show. And so a lot of people get on the spiritual ego high horse, like they're better than others who are not working at their consciousness, let's say. And everybody's on their own path of awakening. This is what Buddhism notes, is like we're on our own journey. And my act of service in the world, like domination is actually an act of service in a way too, right? As paradoxical as that sounds,
Yes,
is to,
definitely.
there's a lot of things of my like mission, we'll say, or what I'm here for. Um, but yeah, we think of sexuality on our planet. It's like just people are just so ashamed. There's so much shame and it's so hardwired in. And what happens when we get through that shame, when we heal it, is it's more and more we are embodied, or we embody our sexuality more. We're more in touch with our sensations of just everything, all of it, in touch with more than
Yeah,
sensation,
definitely.
with our
Thank
nature,
you.
we'll say.
Thank you, Mistress Pomp. And how can people, what would you like to promote? Websites, I don't know, email address, phone numbers, your MySpace and Friendster page, Collar Me page, all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got, I still have Twitter, thank goodness. I've been shadow banned. I think it was my first one this year, but find me. It's the same it's Mistress Palm, at Mistress Palm. That's all. And if you can't find me, I'm going to be pissed, but there's a backup account I have, which is the Mistress Pomf. And I'm at mistresspomf.com, and you can book with me there, if you want to explore kink, if you want to explore your feelings, if you want coaching from someone who you can actually talk to about, basically anything really, and you don't have to explain yourself so much, because that was the thing when I had a therapist. She was a pro dom, a former pro dom, and I didn't have to explain everything to her, and that I could cut to the chase and finally get into stuff. So that's like another offering of mine. So everything is I think like all my links are on my site, except maybe for, no, they're all there. I think maybe I need to add Sex Panther. I am on Sex Panther these days, and Night Flirt more than I was for a few months. So we've got a lot of that. Nicholas, we didn't talk about splashings. Mm.
Let's talk about splashing. We can talk about splashing.
we're
Talk about splashing
we're
right now.
closing the call, and now I
We
don't
can
know
do
why this
splashing.
is like come
Let's
into
talk
my
about splashing. Look here, I'll even do it right now. Splashing. Let's talk about splashing. All right.
as my brain is going
Let
through
me
my
tell
left
you a little
page.
bit before you begin on splashing. I've said this before recently because it just happened a couple weeks ago. I love tres leches. I
Ooh, I haven't
love
had
tres.
that in
Have you
so
ever had
long.
tres leches? It's
I'm
three
from
milk
Miami,
creams.
so
Oh, there you go. So I was, I love
yeah.
tres leches, and so
Hmm.
Sunshine, my queen, Nicholas, you gotta come up. And I look in the refrigerator, it's not there. Oh no, but I go about my day, whatever. Nicholas, come upstairs. So I go upstairs. And as I walk up the stairs, the bedroom is right at the end of the stairs. So it's like the third floor, right? So as soon as I walk up, I see the carpet, and then I see this white box, right?
Mm.
And it's just tres leches. And right behind the tres leches are legs. So here I am. Of course, I'm locked up, garter belt stockings under my regular clothes and everything. I have to take off my regular clothes,
Mhm.
crawl on my hands and knees, and eat the tres leches off her toes, basically off her feet. So she
Mm.
put her feet right in there, and then I lick those. Let's just say I really like tres leches.
Yeah. You like feet too?
Yeah, I love her. I love women. I love
Yeah.
so it's like yeah, but I don't have an obsession with feet or anything like that,
Okay.
but I appreciate feet.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. So yeah, what are some ways we could have some more fun with tres leches?
Ooh. Wait, with the trace leches. Sitting on it.
Think about it, it's like a cake. It's a cake, and it's a
Sit
very
sit
wet
on
cake.
it.
It's a very mushy, wet cake. It's like a cake filled like made with three different types of
Yeah,
milk.
definitely sit on it. No, honestly, people would think this is crazy, but it's like, don't knock it till you haven't tried it. But a lot of people don't like splashing for whatever reason. They are like
It's a
against it.
mess.
It is a mess. Okay, it's a
Yeah,
mess.
straight up mess.
That is the
Yeah.
most annoying part. Everything else is so fun. Well, actually, opening it all is annoying too.
Yeah, no, it is. It's so who
Preparations in
doesn't
the
like
after.
food? Food is the source of all life. I don't like to waste it. So there's
I
in the
know.
back of my mind, I'm like, oh, we're wasting food.
Yeah.
There's that. I don't splash often because I don't like to clean up either. But I'll say right now, it's beautiful. It's what oh my God, the texture of it, the feel of it, feeling a woman's body in your hands with other food that you love.
Yeah. It's, you see, it's like, it's so cool. And the sensation play of it, it is humiliating. And like, that's a I switch with splashing sometimes. It's humiliating. I don't
My
love
friend,
humiliation. I don't
my
like it.
friend
I don't
Shari
like
has
being
done
done to me.
my friend Mistress Shari's done some most brutal stuff, sounding and shaving, all this stuff. And then like it's this one guy comes in, all he wants to do is just be in a French maid's outfit and have a pie just in his face over and over again. But that's it. The whole entire session, just another pie.
I would love it. It's so fun.
Oh yeah. Splosh blankets are awesome for
Wait, oh,
splash
splash
blankets.
blankets.
Splash blankets. And guess
What
what?
what is that? Like putting
With code YKF, you can get 15% off at splashblankets.com.
wait, do I not know?
Splash blankets are wonderful. Here, now it's time for me to
Do you have them
show you
here?
something. Sure do.
Oh, the waterproof blankets.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're these waterproof blankets. They're great. They come in. They're
Mm.
awesome, and we can leave little like
Mm.
with the secretion, we can leave little like continents, and it looks like a big map of
Hmm.
of vaginal secretion makes. Forget it.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah, I've
so
been using tablecloths lately. Yeah, this is the other conundrum, I will be honest, with splashing, and I want to find a better way, is I don't like the waste and don't like, I want the products to be, I might make like a more limited list where it's like only buy this, where it doesn't come as so much plastic or something, because that just like kills me inside. As
right, you're not only wasting the food, but now you're buying packaging. You're buying the food with
yeah,
packaging that's killing you.
I know I normally I'm as zero waste as it can get in my life. So I'm like, all right, this is a little bit of one of those it's not a cognitive dissonance, but it is paradox, I'd say. So not perfect and trying to find a better way here.
Okay, with that being
Not
said,
like I'm
please,
doing them all the time either. So it's like it's it's
what's
probably
your
lots
favorite
of
thing to
people's choice
splosh with?
throughout the year.
What's your favorite item to splosh with?
I love pies. I do love throwing pies. There's so many. Custard's fun. Okay, honestly, I don't do too much of this in US, but in UK, the whole beans thing is fun and
Oh
funny.
yeah,
Oh, it's funny. It's very funny. Puddings are, custard and pudding's so fun. Of course, cakes and cake sittings. But I guess like pieing is just like is hilarious.
I'm interviewing Goddess Sika from India. She's from
Yeah.
Calcutta. I wonder if what Indian food is good for splashing.
Ooh.
Think
I
about it.
mean, so many curries, like,
Right, and the spicy that can get into certain
it
that could
might hurt their eyes
like may
actually.
add a whole new elephant
Oh, yeah.
element.
Oh, yeah.
What about ice cream or cake? Stan asks.
It's fun, yeah, you can do a lot of temperature play, so, like, you can use cold stuff, you can use, speaking of spices, like, I do CBT sometimes with cold stuff, like ice cream and ice, right? And then, like, hot sauce, and that's just wild.
It's
Cakes
funny.
are awesome, though.
This is the dessert of our interview because we're talking about
This is the dessert. Yeah.
Stan Vladimir says that his favorite dessert
Mm.
is tiramisu. Yes, and
Yeah,
British food
a
is the
good
best
tiramisu.
weapon to avoid evasions. Rotary says. With that being said, Mistress Pomp, thank you for everything. Please, um, check me out on Spotify. Subscribe to
Okay.
Spotify.
Yeah.
Yes, yourkinkyfriends.com. YKF, Your Kinky Friends
Do you
podcast.
do you have any good session playlists on there?
Yes, I have.
I'm always
I was
looking.
in the hospital. I was in the hospital, and every time they gave me morphine, I put on a song. And so I have a song of all morphine induced songs that are great for slow sessions. And
Oh,
then I also have a Spotify. Nick Tanek has a Spotify called Closet Sunshine. Um,
hmm.
we basically tie each other up in the closet and play with each other and use this. So it's great. Yeah, check out. Check Your Kinky Friends. Locked in Lust, 15% off. Splash Blankets, 15% off. With YKF. I don't know. We're just trying to be kinky, trying to do our thing. Support Mistress Pomf. She is a true muse. If I know people, I've
Oh,
talked to so many people. She's genuine. She's the real deal. We
oh,
need people like Mistress
that's
Pomp in the
beautiful.
kink community. Thank you for being you,
Thank
Mistress Pomp.
you. Thank you
With
for
that
being
being
you,
said,
Nicholas. Thank you for doing this show. Let me
oh
tell you, even though our last one was like so many years ago,
yeah,
that brought me some of the best subs.
really,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, some
that makes
really
me
good
feel
ones.
proud.
Yeah, and they were like, "I watched you," and I'm like, "Okay." It means it usually means that the subs they're doing their research, instead of just boner the boner
Boner
there's
click,
a difference, right?
boner click. Yeah. Thank you very much. And I must say, anybody listening to this podcast, if you're going out to a dominatrix or anybody kinky, be respectful and remember the cardinal rule: be cool, be kind, keep an open mind.
Oh,
With
I
that being
love
said,
it.
have a great
Aw,
weekend, Miss Fomp.
you too, Nicholas.
I absolutely love speaking with you. Like seriously, I'm
Babe, you're
walking on
so
air.
fun.
It's wonderful. Stay in the line. I want to talk to you real quick, but everybody remember the cardinal rule: be cool, be kind, keep an open mind. Take care.